The nation is mourning former U.S. Secretary of State and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Colin Powell. He died yesterday, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, from COVID-19 complications while battling cancer and Parkinson's disease. Powell was a trailblazer. His career as a distinguished soldier began back in 1958. He became the first black national security advisor under President Reagan in 1987. He then served as the youngest and first black chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under President George H.W. Bush, and then became the first black Secretary of State under President George W. Bush. Joining me now is Admiral Bob Natter, who worked closely with Powell throughout his career. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
First, your immediate reaction upon hearing of General Powell's passing?
Well, I was saddened. We lost a great American and a great leader of this country, both a military leader and a statesman.
So for those who never met him or just didn't know him, how would you describe General Powell, the person?
He had a great sense of humor. He worked very hard. He was very knowledgeable. He was tough on occasion when he needed to be. He was a real master at being able to handle personalities like General Schwarzkopf, for example, the Joint Chiefs and others, allies, the interagency folks, especially during Desert Shield and Desert Storm, when I knew him best.
And as a military leader, since you've brought it up, how would you describe him?
He was the best chairman in our lifetime, without a doubt. In my many years of service, he knew how to lead. He knew when to be tough. He knew when to take a stand, but he also knew how to listen. Anyone who ever worked for him or with him had the greatest respect for him.
So we know his time in office was not completely void of controversy. He did later acknowledge that the decision to disarm Iraq and Saddam Hussein would blot his record forever. How does that time impact his legacy, if at all, do you think?
Well, listen, he was the spokesperson for the United States government at the United Nations when he delivered that speech. He was not the director of CIA. He did not handle the intelligence firsthand. He was basing his comments on what he was told. Did he regret it? Absolutely. Was it the wrong thing to say and for our government to stand behind with respect to invading Iraq? Absolutely wrong.
So after his time in government, we really saw him kind of step away from politics. Obviously, he's been struggling with health problems for a while now. But, he supported leaders of both parties, really, kind of depending upon really who he thought would do the best job. How do you think that describes him as a man?
As a really even-handed American, first and foremost, a soldier, a general, somebody who based his views, his opinions, and his support on the person and what he thought was going to be best for the United States of America. And I really admire him for that.
Admiral Natter, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.